Good morning and a very warm welcome to everyone. My name is Oliver Dalichau and I'm the resident representative of the Friedrich-Ebert-Stiftung Rwanda. On behalf of the FES, I would like to welcome you to our virtual discussion today. A special welcome to the UNDP Rwandan representative, our special guest, but also to all representatives of government institutions or embassies, trade unions, civil society organizations, media houses, researchers, students, and everyone who is attending this virtual meeting. It's our honor and pleasure to be with you today to discuss the Sustainable Development Goals. In the past months, we worked on different projects with our partners, and we noticed that the level of SDG knowledge is very different. This is part of the reasons we came up with the idea to translating the ambitious 17 goals of the global community into a comic book with a special focus on 6 Rwandan discussants, these objectives. I am more than delighted that in our memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Local Government, the support of the Rwandan strategies to implement the SDGs is quoted prominently. As FES Rwanda, we are promoting our work with the SDGs through good governance, social protection, and we link all our programs to national, international, and regional approaches. We have to remember that the SDGs were adopted by the General Assembly of the United Nations in 2015 and should be achieved in less than 10 years from today. For us, as FES Rwanda, our partners and friends, this is a welcome occasion to reflect to ourselves. Are the SDGs actually known enough by all of us already? What should be done to improve awareness and engagement of SDGs? This comic book is to be presented to you today as a first step. You can already find it as an electronic version in our digital library, and it can be downloaded and shared freely. This work has been possible through a combined effort of partnership and collaboration between FES, its partners in Rwanda, and Graffiti Studio. In the discussion that will begin shortly, my colleague and FES Program Officer Salvatrice Musabiyezu will present this new publication and explain how the SDGs are related to the work of the FES. I would like to take this opportunity to thank her for her strong nerves, good ideas, and professional advices during the realization of the project. Particularly, I would like to thank Graffiti Studio and the responsible person for this project, Shabani Bitsimana, and all the other colleagues who were involved in the development of the story and the drawings. Please check all names on the first pages. Thanks to technology, Kilian Ropeta from Germany is also participating in this discussion. Kilian was an intern in our office last year. He was entrusted with helping to shape the first steps of the implementation. We have another digital guest. Immaculée is working for Gasore Serge Foundation in Bugesera. With her, we have with us a reader who is already an expert in the comic. And we are looking forward, Immaculée, what you will share with us today. Partners and friends, I would especially like to welcome again our digital guest of honor, the resident representative of UNDP, Stephen Rodriques. The United Nations Development Programme is one of the most important partners of the Republic of Rwanda, and we are more than grateful for your virtual presence. Stephen Rodriques has kindly accepted our invitation, and in his contribution, he will link the global perspectives of the SDGs to the local context. Thank you very much for being with us, Stephen. Julius Bizimungu, senior journalist from the Rwanda New Times, will guide us through the morning. A special thank you to all the supporters in the background for making this event possible today. You are all invited to use the various comment options, and please don't hesitate to send us your feedback on the comment. Thank you very much for your attention. On behalf of the FES, I wish you a productive discussion, and hopefully our new comic book will support achieving the SDGs.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oliver, and good morning and greetings from wherever you are. Welcome to this digital launch of the SDG comic. As he said, my name is Julius Bizimungu, and I'm a journalist with the New Times. So I think there's no better time to have this launch other than this period where the world is deeply divided, where the rise of nationalism has become a norm, where globalization has shrunk, where we see a lot of trade wars going on. But it is also a time when people are more interested to address some of the pressing challenges around them, from climate change and to poverty and hunger, to ensuring lasting peace.
Good morning, everybody. We are discussing something very important for the world, for our countries, but also for ourselves. Sustainable development goals, I take them as the well-being of the humanity, well-being of people, well-being of the planet, well-being of the whole ecosystem.
Good morning to all of you. Good morning from Germany. First of all, I'd like to thank you for having me today and also for giving me the opportunity to say a few words about the SDGs and also about the comic book itself. As Julius already mentioned, my name is Kilian and I was an intern at FES Rwanda last year. And I was there from July until October of last year. And during my time in Kigali, I had the privilege to work on different projects for FES. And one of them being also the SDG comic book. I also work closely with Shabani and his team, and it's great to see the final result now, and I can only imagine how much work it took to create this product. It really looks great, and I really like it a lot. The SDGs, or the global goals, as they are also called, essentially they are a call for action by all countries and for all countries, developed and developing countries alike. And I think that is a big difference when compared to other previous international development agendas. All countries are expected to work towards achieving the SDGs, not just in Rwanda, not just in East Africa, but also in Germany and also in other industrialized countries.
Hello everyone, thank you for having me. My name is Shabani Bizimungu. I'm the founder of Gravity Studio. We are a creative agency based in Rwanda. For this project, I was also part of I was the project manager for the whole concept. The SDGs are not a UN or country activity to do. They can be done by everyone into the society. It helps us to understand that using our art and creativity, we can actually create something that has social impact to the society and actually create awareness of a good topic like the sustainable development goals.
This comic book is about a conversation between friends, a group of Rwandan friends who are discussing about sustainable development goals. Those people, they are discussing those goals, giving examples, simple examples they find around them, but also thinking about what should be done, what has been achieved. Most of the time, when they talk about sustainable development goals, people think it's for UN, it's for governments. However, all of us, we are concerned. We have to first to understand them and then integrate them. Today, as we are living in this pandemic period, it's a time to reflect back. How would we understand sustainable development? Because this pandemic, I think, has challenged some people the way they were understanding sustainable development, I picked some examples from all around the world, from America, from Europe, from Africa. This slide shows you can go through the links I shared. They show how sustainable development has been a question.
Now, of course, with COVID-19 and the spread of the pandemic, it is global health. So basically SDG number 3, ensuring healthy lives and promoting well-being for all at all ages, that is being talked about most extensively at the moment, also here in Germany. But I think this pandemic and also its global implications alone, they can show you how interconnected we are as a global community. And I think it also serves as an example as to why it is important for people and also for societies to come together and work towards achieving the global goals. When I say this, I want to highlight that this means it cannot be done by governments or politicians alone. Different actors need to be involved. Civil society, NGOs, trade unions, basically all individuals need to be involved. So that's why I think it's great to have a comic book like this one, and why I believe it is a great tool to raise awareness for the SDGs. It can reach people and make an impact on groups of people who have never heard of the SDGs before. And it can do so in a fun and an interesting and an entertaining way, so to say. And having such a comic book, not only in English, but also in Kinyarwanda, I think it's a great thing, because you always feel more connected to a product when you can experience it in your mother tongue.
We can link the Sustainable Development Goals to the FES work. FES work focuses on good governance, social protection, and economic transformation. This is why FES has been contributing for many years, like 95 years in contributing in sustainable development. And FES is moving with other organizations around the world to implement sustainable development. From this, we thought that it can be good as the way after 5 years of implementation, how can we reflect back? This is a question for us who are here today. So there is a collaboration, partnership between organizations, government and the government institutions, intergovernment bodies, national, international organizations, all those people who are involved in development, who we can call development actors. They should work together to achieve sustainable development. All the organizations, whatever they can do, they are part of the sustainable development. However, sometimes there is this lack of connection of of the goals with the vision and the mission of respective organizations. This is why we are here today. This is why FES was thinking that this comic book can be used by local organizations, local NGOs, even international NGOs to raise awareness. Then partnership and collaboration is really very important.
In terms of lessons, we learned is that each of the goals is a topic itself. And it made us realize that actually we can use our art into creation of content like a comic book around this topic individually in the long run. Also, it helps us to understand that art and creativity can be used also to create something for social impact and development of the population around the world.
My name is Imakine Idankunda. I'm from Gaso Research Foundation. It's a non-profit organization working in the Bugesera district. Through my way of reading this comic book of 17 Sustainable Development Goals, I was very impressed on how they made this as a comic book, because we saw different characters from different aspects and from different areas. We saw from education, from health services and other So I also like the way each of the goal we saw in this comic book was related to another. You find that as they were in a conversation through reading this book, you find that each goal they were discussing about, someone was also having like a connection on that next goal. And in this comic book also, I like the way people were like impressed on knowing what can I do on this, so which part am I included. They also made a good way of making this comic book in Rwanda, where everyone can be able to act and read specifically to Rwandans.
Good morning to everyone. Maramutse. I'm so happy to see so many persons coming online for this conversation. And I must congratulate my colleague, the country director, Oliver, for FES Foundation, and the entire team there for this outstanding job that they've done in producing this comic book. I also want to acknowledge and recognize my colleague, Dorothea, the head of cooperation from the German embassy, who I see is also online. But all the colleagues from government, from the development partner community, the private sector, NGOs, etc. This is such an important issue, and I'm just really happy to see the conversations going on in the side chats, all the questions that have been asked and so on. And it's really timely. As you said, it's 5 years have gone and we have 10 years to go. And I must say, when people read the comic, they should not just look at what the characters say. They should also look at how they act. You will notice that everyone has a voice in the comics. Everyone gets to speak, the old and the young, the kids and the parents. But also there's a very nice section where the wife asks the husband to give her a drink of something, and the husband does it happily. And that was just another reflection that you don't need to say gender equality is important, but the way the characters act also conveys these kinds of messages. So I thought it was a really well done, the comic, and I really want to congratulate FES and Gravity Studios and everyone who worked on it. You know, the UN Secretary General has labeled these next 10 years the decade of action. The SDGs were supposed to be bottom up. They're supposed to involve the people from the very beginning. There are two central ideas behind the SDGs. The first is that we do need a better world where there's more equality of opportunity, where there's less poverty, less hunger, where people have access to quality education, to quality healthcare, where there's a clean, healthy environment, and so on, and where people can live really meaningful and really fulfilling lives, lives of dignity. We do need that kind of world. But the second, and this is the second part, if we're to create that world, we need the global citizens to not just contribute to defining that vision and to understanding where we're going, but we need everyone to join efforts, that partnership that many of you have spoken about before. We need everyone to join hands together to work to realize that vision. Little Rwanda was among the top 10 countries in the world in terms of achievements against the MDGs. And a lot of that was because of good governance, because of the fact that MDGs were prioritized in the national strategy, because there's so little corruption, and the whole of society was working towards the MDGs. And I think if we take those kinds of approaches, we will see accelerated progress on the SDGs as well. One of the major positives for Rwanda is the fact that it has adopted the SDGs and has integrated the SDGs in its national planning frameworks. And that's a starting point in Vision 2050, in the National Strategy for Transformation, in the sector strategies, and in the district plans. And we work a lot with the government on getting the district governments to also integrate the SDGs into their plans. And then the final critical thing that the government has done, they've established a national SDG task force. And I co-chair that task force with Minnie Coffin, the finance ministry. Governments will take the lead, but it's not just going to be governments who will make this happen. And so that question now of what can we do? As I said, this is a decade of action. So one is awareness, but the other is action.
Somebody called Damian says conflicts and wars hinder the progress of SDGs. How do we minimize their effects?
Conflicts and wars always hinder the progress in achieving the SDGs. The countries or the actors that are involved in conflicts need to find a platform and discuss the issues that cause these conflicts. And I think that the SDGs also talk about this. It's about partnership also for the goals and about strong institutions that prevent conflicts from happening. If you really want to achieve all the goals, of course, achieving peace and strong institutions, you have to work for a world without conflicts and wars.
There is like one cow per family, and also there is zero grazing. It was one of the strategy to address issues of land degradation, but also to support people to find fertilizer, and also to increase the productivity of milk. There is VUP. All those projects, they are combined effort to support to come to the sustainable development. So fighting hunger, it's about a combination of different other factors and other strategies, especially focusing on livelihood strategies. So we look at this in terms of sustainable livelihood strategies, and also to look at options that help people to come out of poverty. So it's a combined effort.
And I also want to respond to that question about whether it's possible to achieve X, whether it's reducing hunger and so on. The world has the wealth and the resources needed to end hunger, poverty, to provide quality education for everyone. Those resources are already here in the world as it is, but they're not evenly distributed and they're not being used well by many countries. And so for me, it's largely a matter of the global community prioritizing the SDG agenda, cutting corruption and waste of resources, and using those funds to invest in the SDGs. And as many persons have said as well, building stronger partnerships. This is not just an agenda for government. And I think if we do those things, we can see real accelerated progress on the SDGs, and we can achieve all the targets.
It's about collaboration. It's about taking action. It's ownership. How do you own sustainable development goals? Make them yours. And then take action, outcome, then you reach impact, and you make a better world. I thank you everyone for their attention.
I just want to say that I'm really happy to see the final product. I'm also proud to have been a part and to have been able to support FES and Gravity Studios in creating this comic book. And I also wish we had something similar like this comic book here in Germany. So I think it's really important that it's great to see the product now. So thank you. Thank you for having me today.
It was a great experience to learn about this SDG. Thank you.
So SDGs are very connected. We need to do it together. And also, we need to change mindset. People need to know about this. After this, maybe digital conversation, we need to keep on teach people so that people can get ideas and know what is going to be done. What is my contribution so that these SDGs are going to be achieved? So it's my contribution and your contribution so that everyone is going to be part of this so that we can be able to achieve these goals. Thank you so much.
So the task for us as partners is, how do we make this an action agenda, both to deepen engagement with communities, with citizens, with the private sector, with the philanthropic sector, etc. Deepen awareness, but also how do we then create a few initiatives that can deliver changes and benefits for communities and citizens who are poor, who are hungry, who don't have enough education, and so on. Any good ideas you have in terms of what we do after this conversation would be welcomed. Thank you very much, and a big congratulations to FES and the team once again.
Thank you, Julius. Thank you all participants and speakers for this interesting discussion and presentation of a new SDG comic book. It was a great pleasure for the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung having all of you with us today, and we are looking forward to the next virtual discussion. With this, I say once again, Murakose, thank you very much, and we hope to see you soon.